Om Shanti, good morning from Inner Space in Romford, England. And I'm not actually at Inner Space this morning. I'm in the garage, and I've put this blind up behind me because I don't want anyone to see that I'm in a garage. And I put this picture of the founder of our university, Brahma Baba, who established the World Spiritual University in 1937. And I've basically set the scene, really, which is how we create the wonder of the drama. The wonder of the drama of life is basically you set yourself on what you believe, really. If you believe in the 70 and that you just have to get through everything, and at the end of that 70, then you believe that you've accomplished your position, you got by with the success of what I feel to be quite mundane, really, because you're always trying to establish a fulfillment in life which doesn't really make you feel wonderful, but just makes you get through everything, because everything gets old. Everything goes in this life from new to old. Basically your body, everything that you own goes from new to old, and then you have to keep earning to keep getting new things. And that's what we kind of end up decorating ourselves with the 70, trying to make ourselves feel wonderful through creating a wonderful life, which is, you might get certain experiences from time to time of the wonder of life, but you won't get it unless you change your perspective. You set the scene, basically. You see this world as a drama, and you're playing a role on the world stage, and everyone else, of course, is playing their role on the world stage. So we're just looking to play our role efficiently, keeping our dignity, not retaliating, because a person who retaliates is accruing more and more karma. It's perspectives, really, isn't it? The way that you see things is the way you'll conduct yourself. And if you set the stage like I set it, I'm in the garage, but it looks someplace else, which is what we do in life, isn't it? You know, we have the old school reunions where we don't want to be seen as a failure, we want to be seen as a success, and no one's really particularly bothered. You know, we live our lives in the sense of, you know, there may be a great vanity in our early days, which we pay the price of later because the body gets old, and our vanity was very much connected to the actors' costumes, the costumes that we wear. So when you actually do believe in this world is a stage and that we're all actors on the world stage, you're only looking to play your own part, your own role as well as you can, you know, moving through the ordinary to the extraordinary, where you actually feel like you're one of the special heroes of the drama. You know, and everyone's has the potential to be a hero, but it all depends on when it's their time, when their perspective changes. Everyone's perspective will change because we're, as souls, as eternal souls, only visitors here to this world stage, and everything that comes in front of us is just passing through. So when people say that they believe that it's karma, that everything that's happening to me is happening because of my past, and the people that are around me, good and bad, are because of my good and bad past karmas, because like attracts like. So I've actually, from my past, I've created this present situation that I'm now in. So not to get caught up in the blame of your situation or your circumstances or how people treat you, because it's how you treat yourself that counts. As a actor on the world stage, don't take anything personally. Sometimes people are just fact-finding, who baked this cake. In other words, they're not saying who's responsible for this terrible cake, so don't do the defensive, I did, what's the matter with it? Don't jump. Learn to actually step back and observe like an actor will. You're just observing through these eyes. You're speaking, set back through the mouth. You're listening, set back through the ears. So you're allowed to, allowing yourself not to jump and react to everything that people say. Sometimes people mean things personally, sometimes they don't. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're dealing with it all in the same way, in the sense of if someone is using their ego for control, they may be interrogating you. And if an interrogator is someone that is asking you a question and then they're going to offer advice to you because it's where they get their power from. Everyone's searching for power and they've lost their inner power, so they use the ego as an interrogator. So they'll ask you a question, then they're putting themselves in a position, because remember they're setting the stage, just asking you so that they can offer their advice, their wisdom, so they can be seen in the limelight, because they're attention seekers, attention-seeking missiles, some people call them, because it's a very destructive force, attention-seeking, whereby they're getting power, but they'll have to do that in an hour's time again, or a couple of hours' time, because it's only a small buzz they get from their power of feeling important. So they're importing that scenario into them, and the subconscious mind says, I need more of the same to give me more power. So maybe they're the interrogator, maybe you're feeling interrogated, so you don't want to get into the victim role, so you're neutralizing that, you're recognizing their drama control syndrome that they're using, and you're using if you're using a victim consciousness, then literally your body language will say, don't pick on me, don't talk to me like that. But they're not really talking to you like that, they're talking to themselves, because they're actually using that to get rid of their own feelings of inadequacy. So see it for what it is, don't see it as in a imaginary thing that, there's any defenses that you need to protect yourself, because you don't. You just need to be your true self, and the truth will set you free, the truth will work for you. And the truth is that you're an actor, you're an observer. Don't step out of that observer role, and if you do, then quickly forgive yourself and shift back into it, because we've been the reactors for many, many lives rather than actors, and that's why we've accumulated all this negative stuff. The good thing about negativity is it doesn't matter how much you've got of it, as long as you're not it. So you're not the negative, it's just been accumulated or acquired. Your true nature is what you search for, how you enjoy to be, peace, love, honesty, integrity, dignity, dharma, we call it. So Dharma is your dignity, it's your wonder, your beauty, your magic. So that's real. The rest of it has just been acquired because we either felt that people were trying to control us, or we tried to control them as a response to them controlling us. And no one's the winner, everyone's the loser because they lose themselves to that role that they play. So if someone's angry at you, it's their own anger that they're using. They may have a good message. Maybe I am an untidy person and needs to be tidier. Maybe I have been careless and made a mistake, in which case don't feel you're too big to say, to apologise, even though they're angry. Don't do the I'm sorry about this, but you also are doing this and doing that, because that's just tit for tat and everyone's a loser. No one wins in the world of retaliation. An actor doesn't retaliate because their role's too important to them. The role that they play with dignity is too important. So, as we say, don't go down to that level, because we've been down to that level and now we're repositioning ourselves. When we work on that level, the opposition is the level that we're working at. So we're not working in our true position, which is love, dignity, respect. If they don't respect me, I'll continue to respect them, because this is my self-respect. So I'm respecting the self by showing respect. Lots of people think they don't deserve any kind of respect, but your self-respect does deserve respect. So use it, or we say use it or lose it. You can't lose it, because the self-respect will be replaced by the ego, and then the ego will be replaced by the self-respect again. It's eternal and it's cyclic. You'll come back to your origin, nothing to worry about. You can't lose your goodness, your kindness, your warmth, your love, but use it in the wrong way and it becomes hidden away for a while, and we feel gloomy and as if the world is gloom and doom. So, when someone is in front of you and they're blaming you, whether it's personal or not personal, take out the personal anyway. It's more about them than it is about you, the complainer, rather than what there is to complain about. People have the habit to complain. People have the habit to worry and feel guilty. So they're two separate things from the situations. They're all separate from the situations. It's a habit to worry. It's a habit to feel guilty. So practice not feeling guilty. Practice not worrying about something, and use the term we'll see. We'll see. Whatever the outcome is, we'll see. Don't worry about something that hasn't happened, because that might happen and hasn't happened yet, because that's where a lot of the stress comes, the tension and anxiety comes through people using this habit in everything they do. So they all, it's almost like dying the death of 1,000 cuts, isn't it? When you worry about things that haven't happened, you're only dealing with the things that have happened, and then also worry doesn't help. Concern's okay, you're concerned, but the moment it steps across that line into the field of worry, then you're actually being drained by the situation. So the situation has been made by yourself, who's bigger than any situation. You've made the situation more important than the situation. So actually make it smaller rather than bigger, and deal with it like a piece of cotton wool. Don't make it into an oak tree. and what is it they say? Little strokes fell great oaks, because these little strokes that you do eventually make the biggest situation very small. Little strokes fell great oaks. So when you're facing a situation whereby someone's the interrogator, don't become the victim to it by taking it personally. Just see the person as playing that role because they're being bugged by something that's annoying them. And if there has been a mistake, okay, that's fine. Sometimes people are more aggressive than that. They play the role of the intimidator or the bully. And basically a bully is someone that feels bullied, feels small. So they want someone else to feel the same as they do. So simply don't feel the same. Don't slip into the victim role of why me, why are they always picking on me, because they're actually picking on themselves. They feel bullied inside. They're getting their power from the so-called increased power that they get from bullying someone that is they feel to be smaller than themselves. That doesn't mean to say that person is smaller than themselves because you feel as small or as big as your self-worth is allowing you to feel. And your self-worth is great, but you just need to keep it to the surface, and you do that through stopping the effect of other people's roles on you. Nothing to do with them, they're just playing their role. They're like on the carousel of the dramas that are passing by. Everything has come to pass. That's why in the Bible it says it came to pass, and everything is on a carousel just passing through. So sometimes people understand half karma. They don't understand the full diagnosis. They say, I deserve this karma. I live with this husband for 40 years. He's violent to me. He's angry against me all the time, and it's my karma. No. As soon as you start changing the attitude so that it's his role and this is my role, then you start to remove the bondage of karma. The bondage of karma is much worse than the karma itself, because the mind's always in bondage to that situation. A situation you don't need to be in bondage to. You can actually add something, neutralize something. Don't try to make someone have a more positive outlook. You can't change anyone. You can sow a seed in their garden, but only they can change themselves. So don't try to change anyone. Just sow a seed and leave it. It will germinate at its own time when they realise one day that their arrogance is self-destructive, that their self-righteousness is self-destructive. Then they'll make that decision themselves, because every soul has to move away from a godlike state, from God. There's only one God, the Supreme Being. So everyone moves away from that same state that God's in. And then they go on the return journey where they return back to that godly state. We're basically made from the same state, which is why we need the Supreme Being, or the one we call Baba, as our Father, and we're His child because we're in need. We're in need of His strength, His power, His company. So we remember Him and forget human beings, because human beings, one moment they're there for you, the next moment they're not there for you. So throughout the day, if your stage gets lost to a situation, that means you're being ruled by the situation. Then step back, become the observer again and again and again, because little strokes fell great oaks. I like this saying. I've just come across this saying. That's why I've used it 3 times now, so that it's ingrained within me, so I don't forget that, because living is learning and learning is living. So anything that we learn, don't just listen to it, use it. Use it in your practical life. See others as actors. Don't try to buy yourself happiness. Don't think that spending a lot of money buying the latest and greatest will give you the joy. It will actually make you distant from the joy. The best things in life are free. You've already got them inside. There just needs to be a better and clearer understanding, and they become clearer not in the sense of an education, but in the sense of an implementation, where you're actually implementing them in your life. Don't get caught up in the blame game of yourself or the blame game of others, because everything is being disempowered through that. Don't feel guilty, even if someone tries to make you feel guilty. Recognize that if they're trying to make you feel guilty, they're not really a true friend. They're actually taking a service that you're making available to them. So don't get caught up in this guilt, because the more you act on that guilt, the stronger it becomes. And that's why it's very strong in some than it is in others, because they've actually acted on that guilt. They've run around for other people, and they've been put on and made a rod for their own back, because there's not enough self-worth to actually be without that person being pleased with them. And they're only pleased for a short period of time, and then they'll ask again and again and again, and you'll make a rod for your own back and wish you hadn't gone beyond the call of duty, to be a good son, to be a good daughter, to be a good husband, to be a good wife. Doesn't take much, but if you're trying to please them when they can't be pleased, well, what's the point of that? So that's the drama, that's the role they play, and they're playing that role because there's been people in my past lives that I was subservient to in that way. And I've acted on it, and I felt guilty, and the more I felt guilty, the more I did, and eventually burnt the self out. If you didn't burn yourself out, your mind would be being pulled all over the place as a lesser factor. But burning out is kind of like when you can do no more. But while you can do more, use that time, use that to re-energize yourself, separate yourself from your role as much as you can. Take time out for yourself. You don't need a lot of time. It's not hours and hours of meditation. You just need to be aware that yourself is separate to the role that you play. Don't keep losing yourself to what you do, and you start to feel the wonder of yourself, because you're not the role. You can no longer score yourself on your role. So failure and success is all very superficial in this outside world. One moment you're a success, the next moment you're a failure. You're only as good as your last performance. Why even go there? Just exercise your virtues. You've got your own jewelry box inside. When you need patience, invoke it. It's only rusty. It hasn't been used for a while, or used at this newfound level. When you need tolerance, invoke it. When you need cooperation with others, and you're not making a rod for your own back, then be cooperative, even if they're a little bit of a stick in the mud and a bossy boots. There's nothing wrong in giving them something, as long as you make a stand when you're making a rod for your own back. So being cooperative is a good thing. Making a rod for your own back is inoperative. So be cooperative, which is good, I look after a mother with dementia, and morning and night the moods are changing. When it's my turn to look after her, which is 3 or 4 days a week, 3.5 days a week, it's morning and night, so therefore I can't rely on her moods. One moment she's a sweet old lady, and next moment looks like she could create genocide. You know, it looks like she's so full of maliciousness, but it's just their moods. Their moods shouldn't be my moods, because I have to observe and to give respect, to keep respect, no matter what mood she's in. I'm just seeing the bad moods out, and I'm not being impressed by the good moods. I'm not trying to save her, because you can't save anyone. I'm just seeing her role through, helping her through her role. So I don't want to be a hero in that way. I want to feel myself to be a hero always, and I can only do that by stopping the effect of the outside world from affecting me and being effective to the outside world. So don't use your imagination to imagine the worst, because 95% of imagination doesn't happen. Don't overthink everything. You know, one of the main causes of depression and pressure is thinking too much. Thinking about the past is probably the cause of dementia. They will prove that one day, that people that live in the best times rather than create good times are actually creating more pressure. And I do remember the way people speak about, you know, as a train driver, when I used to work for a living, it was as a train driver, people always talked about the good old days. But I remember those days, and people complained as much as they complain now anyway, because it's just a bad habit, and we are creatures of habits. So if you're very vain about your body and you're young and beautiful, well, that will come back to bite you, as your vanity is ego-based, and ego pride always comes before the fall. So recognize your beauty inside. If you have to, I don't know, colour your hair or paint your lips or put black stuff around your eyes, but don't lose your beauty. To that, don't see that beauty as what's on display is the shining face of happiness. If you get a miserable face, it will be seen through the makeup anyway. So I'm paying the price of past vanity, because as the body's got older, you know, no one looks at you anymore. But no one can ignore a smiling, beaming face, and that's the beauty of the beauty within. They've neutralised everything of the outside world. There's nothing that's so important that it's life-threatening. You know, even if a soul leaves a body, it's a soul that's leaving the body to play another role. No, there's no such thing as death. The death of happiness probably happens because happiness gets completely merged and lost to people's roles, but then again it can be recovered. So we're actually bringing the happiness. The more you use your virtues to counter life, to counter the external, the happier you'll feel. So we'll do some meditation to finish, and we'll continue on this theme, I think, as the wonder of the drama of life, part 2. Look forward to seeing you then. So turning your thoughts inside, setting the stage, feeling yourself to be separate from the costume that you're playing your role through. The eyes, ears, mouth, the body is all external. The world outside is part of your physical body, made of the same components, made of the same elements, connect with the self inside as a pristine being of light who is viewing life differently now. Celebrate this moment of realization that you're now becoming aware. You don't need to be aware. The joy is in becoming aware, where the sound of the outside world becomes less and the sound of the inside world becomes more. Neutralize the outside world. Be the observer to your body, the observer to your role, the observer to other people's roles, the situations in life coming and going. You're not looking for stillness and stability in that. You already have stillness and stability on the inner side of the eyes, not the outside of the eyes. Sit in the position of control and rulership by being the observer through your eyes. Set back from the role of the body. Go into the silence of the soul, where you'll find patience, love, humility and peace. Don't let your peace be in pieces from the outside world, of the outside world. Let your peace be full in the inside world. You have the love that you need. You don't need to search for it in the loveless world. The beggars of love are running around for love. But you're not a beggar, because you are a child of love, a child of God, visiting the world stage to bring love to the world, to your roles that you play. Shanti. Have a nice day.